Okay, so we're going to take a look at grammar exercise 13, sort of introduce you guys to that. You should have received today in class the sentence transformation essential handout. This is for our second grammar unit. And there's two sides. So what we're going to focus on today are actually all three of the transformations that transform the form of the sentence. So there are two ways to transform sentences. There's the form transformations, and then there's the voice. Okay, and so passive voice, we'll tackle that a little bit later because that one's a little trickier. So when you encounter a sentence that's been transformed, which is what you're going to see on the quiz, there's three ways that you can transform a basic declarative or statement of fact sentence. So you can make it into a command, right? So you can transform the statement of fact and sort of emphasize something in the sentence, or you can transform the sentence into a question, okay? And so the first one that we have here, and we're just going to take a look at in this video, the first example is taking a sentence that's a command and moving it back into that statement of fact. Okay, so a command sentence has, generally it implies the subject, and so the subject will usually not be there, and so the subject is usually you. Okay, and then there's a comma after the you in the imperative form because you're addressing this command to that subject, that implied subject. Okay, every once in a while there'll be a different noun, and so sometimes it'll say, you know, Mr. Brown, comma, read me a story. Okay, so you could have a sentence that was like that had a noun of address, it's called, with a comma after it, that's the subject of that imperative sentence. So to change that command back to a statement of fact, all you do is take away the comma. Okay, so you may have to add the UN, but you just take away the comma, and you have, so what's the statement of fact? You read me a story. So it's not you read me a story, it's you read me a story. Okay, and so then once you've rewritten the sentence in its declarative form, then you just chart it out to identify the pattern. So read is your verb. You don't have a prepositional phrase, but you do want to separate those two things. You've got noun phrase 1. Me is noun phrase 2, different than you, and then the story is your third thing in this sentence, and so you have transitive verb because you have the noun phrase 2, you know, you is your subject, what is read, right, that's your direct object, who or what is verbed, and then me is your indirect object, to whom or for whom was the story read. Okay, so with the indirect object and the direct object, this one's pattern 8. Okay. So that's the imperative form. You just add you to the beginning of the sentence, and these are some examples over here, and that's all you have to do for those sentences. Okay, so if you skip down, the second transformation is the exclamatory, right? And the exclamatory is really an emphatic, so you emphasize a piece of, usually it's always the predicate. So you're dragging a piece of the sentence that's after the verb to the beginning, and you do that for emphasis, okay? So then what you do then is you have to add a what or a how just to signal to the person who's reading the sentence that it's out of order, okay? So if your original sentence is we have a helpful librarian, but you really want to emphasize the helpful librarian, you would say what a helpful librarian we have. So other than the what or the how, you don't add anything, you don't take anything away from these sentences. All the words are still in the sentence. You just move some stuff around. Okay? So when you see the sentence that's in the exclamatory form, you have to figure out what was moved and then move it back. Okay, and then you're just going to get rid of that signal phrase. So exclamatory to declarative. So how unseasonably warm the ski season was last winter. Okay, so with these sentences, you're going to cross out the how or the what, right? So you remove those, and then it says you're going to determine what words were moved and move them back. Okay, usually to do that, it helps if you find the verb and the subject. So in this sentence, was is actually your verb, what are you describing, defining, or locating? Well, you're describing, defining, or locating the ski season. Okay, so then what's left before your subject, right? What's out of place? This little phrase, unseasonably warm. Okay, so unseasonably warm is going to get moved back, and it can go either here, right after the verb, the ski season was unseasonably warm last winter, or it could go after. The ski season was last winter unseasonably warm. I feel like if you were to do that, you might want to sort of separate this with a comma. So since we don't have that and we don't want to worry about that, I would say the best place to put it is here, but either would technically be okay. Okay? All right, so you rewrite the sentence. So the ski season was unseasonably warm last winter. And then you chart it out. So was is your verb. No prepositional phrases. Ski season's noun phrase 1. Unseasonably warm. We're going to split that up. Unseasonably is an adverb. Warm is an adjective. And then last winter stays together. It's a little adverbial phrase. So last winter is just a little adverb. It tells us when. So when we look at the rest of our sentence, we have 2 adverbs, 1 adjective, right? With the adjective kind of being the most important thing. The ski season was warm. That's essentially what we've got in our sentence. Everything else is just modifying. So was, we know, is a be verb, right? That means warm is our subject complement. Completes our understanding of the ski season, right? That's what's being described. Unseasonably, adverb and form, adverb and function, and last winter, same thing, adverb and form, adverb and function. So our sentence is really with the be verb and the adjective subject complement, pattern 2. Okay? All right, so that's our second transformation. So we've got commands, we've got something that's out of order for emphasis, and then we have questions. And questions are a little tricky, so we're going to take a look at those in the second video. So we're just going to kind of focus on the first 2 transformations today.